I remember when I went to her place and I went on her computer, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing a secret file that was named Bubba. And when I clicked on it, I realized there was videos of me and her doing the Devil's Tango. And that's when I knew I got leaked. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another really insane, but I gotta say crazy story. So today's story all takes place back when I was in high school, and this was my grade 12 year. So I was graduating around this time, and honestly, a lot of crazy things happened in my grade 12 year, to the point where I'm not gonna lie, I don't think anyone could survive it. But I remember in my grade 12 year, there was one specific person in my high school that was really well known. And the only reason she was super well known was because, well, she was always like known for being in the cheer team, being one of the smartest girls in class. She was basically the goody two-shoes that was super attractive. And I remember one day I was walking down the high school hallway with my textbooks in my hand, and out of nowhere I ended up seeing her and she bumped into me. She ended up basically like hitting my shoulder, and I ended up dropping my textbooks to the point where she turned around and said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there." "Oh, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I could just pick it up. Here, let me help you." And I remember as we were picking up the textbooks, out of nowhere she looks at me and says, "Oh, I didn't know you were in this class." "What, art?" "Yeah, I'm just taking art class for, I don't know, just credits, I guess." "Oh, so you're not like into art?" "Well, I am. Here's some drawings I did." And I remember one of the drawings I showed her was basically a photo of, well, of like the human body. I don't want to get into details, but let's just say it wasn't really known as appropriate, but it was considered a form of art. I remember she saw the art and she actually said, "Oh, wow, this is really good. I'm really into the art of the human body." "Oh, that's cool." "Yeah, sorry, what was your name again?" "Oh, my name is Bubba." And at that moment, me and her, we actually ended up basically exchanging numbers, and we actually ended up deciding to hang out. It was really out of nowhere, and don't get me wrong, it was actually insane because a lot of people in my school knew about this girl, so me having a shot with her was really out of nowhere. But this is where things get insane, because I remember when I finally get to my next class, out of nowhere, my buddy ends up walking up to me. He walks up to me and says, "Bubba, bro, I saw you talking to her in the hallway, man. Like, are you guys like a thing now or something?" "Oh, no, we're just talking." "I don't know, man. She had that look in her eye like she liked you, you know what I'm saying?" No. You're overthinking it, bro." And at that moment, we ended up sitting down beside each other and working. And I remember throughout that entire class, she would always text me back to back as well, which, I mean, really showed that she liked me, until I remember when I pulled out my phone to see one of the text messages, there was a girl behind me that looked over my shoulder and saw that I was texting her. And then she ended up saying, Bubba, are you actually talking to her? Like, seriously? What's wrong with her?" "Bubba, you do know, like, all of her exes, like, apparently, like, disappeared." What do you mean?" "Well, like, they ended up, like, deleting, like, all their social media, and, like, they don't even go to school anymore. Like, I don't know what it is, but that girl causes trouble." At that moment, I was so confused because everyone's vision of her, you know, was this perfect girl, but now apparently she has like some dark secret that her exes apparently disappear. It really made no sense to me, and honestly, in my mind, I just thought that maybe this girl that was talking trash about her was just jealous that she was known as being Miss Perfect. But let's just say what ended up happening next kind of blew my mind, because I remember when lunch came around, I ended up walking down the hallway and she saw me walk by, and she actually ended up walking up to me saying, "Hey, Bubba, I was wondering, what are you doing after school today?" "Oh, I was just planning on doing homework." "Why?" "Oh, like, do you want to, like, I don't know, do some studying together? We can go to like a cafe or something." Yeah, I'm down 100%. And as she walks away, she says, "Okay, cool, see you after school." At that moment, I was really excited, and my buddy was right beside me when all that happened, so he looks at me and says, "Bro, you have a date with her? Let's go, bro. Look at you." And I remember I was super excited, but in the back of my mind, I still felt something was fishy. I wasn't sure exactly what. Something was still kind of triggering me, if that makes any sense. Going on with the story, I remember after school finally came around, and I ended up meeting up with her in front of the school. We ended up walking to the cafe because I didn't have my car that day for some reason. And when we finally got there, we ended up sitting down and started doing homework. But I remember as I was doing my homework, she kept staring at me in the most weirdest way, as if she wanted something. Now, don't get me wrong, the look she was giving me was common because, you know, I recognized that look anywhere. It was the look of her wanting to do the Devil's Tango with me. But the thing about her that was very odd was that it seemed like it was in a really bad way. Like she had ill intent to do something wrong. So I look over at her and say, "Hey, like, you okay? Like, is your homework too hard or something?" "Oh, no, I'm just, you know, distracted." "Distracted by what?" "Well, I don't know, like, you're cute." At that moment, I started blushing. This girl was complimenting me, asking me out, like, she's definitely into me. And at that moment, I'm like, you know what? Who cares what that weird girl said in my class? Like, honestly, she seems perfect. So I remember after a while, me and her, we decided to basically go back to her place. And when we did, I remember me and her, we instantly definitely went to the bedroom, and well, you guys probably know what I'm gonna say here, but we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. Things were going great. She was fantastic. She seemed experienced, and on top of that, she was just really entertaining to be around. Even afterwards, she got me a cup of coffee. Like, what girl does that? I remember afterwards, I ended up leaving the house because it was getting late, and I ended up leaving her place, and I started walking home. And as I was walking home, I recognized there was a car following me. Now, it wasn't any creepy white van. It wasn't anything like, you know, that seemed sketchy. It was just a basic BMW that was following right behind me. And when I looked behind me, I kept like staring at it, and I saw it was some dude wearing a hat and sunglasses. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's no one in this planet Earth that should be wearing sunglasses and a hat at the same time. Like, it makes no sense. So that's when I decided to full on stop, and the car stopped right behind me, and I decided to walk over to the driver's side of the vehicle and told him to roll down his window. I remember he was nervous to do it, but then he ended up rolling it down, and he said, is there a problem here? Yeah, are you following me? Maybe. Yeah. I just have a question. Yeah, okay. What's your question? The girl the house you came out of. Did anything happen? What are you talking about? No, nothing happened. Why would you even want to know? 1 second. I remember he ended up parking the car, and he ended up coming out of it, and he took off his hat and sunglasses, and it was just some basic ordinary dude that, to be honest, I kind of recognized because I think he went to my high school, but I wasn't sure exactly who this person was. And that's when he told me, listen, bro, this is gonna sound really weird, but the house you just came out of was my ex-girlfriend's, and like, I don't know, there's like some crazy stuff that happened. I just want to know if like, you know, she showed you anything or like, you know, leaked anything. Leaked anything? What would she have to leak? Well, like, have you ever like been on her computer? No. What? Why would I go on her computer? Well, like, did you notice that the camera was on when you were like, you know, in her room? At that moment, when he said, was the camera on, I started to panic because that can only mean one thing. And that's when I looked over at him and said, to be honest, I don't remember. Dude, good luck. He ended up putting his hat and sunglasses back on, and he just drove away. At that moment, I ended up going home, and I ended up calling my buddy, and I ended up kind of like, you know, panicking to him, telling him like what's going on. And my buddy only said, bro, there's no way a girl would do that, man. Like, think about it. Like, she's like the perfect girl. You're getting in your head too much. Like, you understand, that was an ex, and exes never have good news to say about their exes. Yeah, you're probably right, is what I told him. But the next day at school, things ended up getting weirder. Because I remember the next day at school, I ended up walking around the school hallway, and as I was walking down the hallway, I remember I saw a bunch of random girls just start looking at me weirdly. Like, don't get me wrong, girls look at me all the time, but the way they were looking at me was as if I was wearing nothing. Like, it was really, really weird. And I remember I looked at one of them, and I started to walk up to them, and they ended up running away. Not even like walking fast, like they actually ran away. At that moment, I knew something was wrong. So as I was heading towards my classroom to see my friend and talk to the girl that, you know, warned me about this girl, I ended up seeing the girl that I saw the day before, the girl that, you know, I did the Devil's Tango with, and she ended up walking up to me saying, hey, Bubba, like, what you up to? Nothing, just heading to class, that's all. Okay, you're acting kind of strange. Is everything all right? Did anyone say anything to you? No, I was just, you know, just doing my thing. Why? Is there something I should know? Oh, no, nothing at all. And that's when she ended up walking away. At that moment, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to show it because obviously I wanted to check what was on her computer. Ever since her ex warned me about that, I needed to figure out what was going on. So I remember I ended up yelling out to her as she was walking away and said, hey, what are you doing tonight, by the way? Nothing. Why? I mean, can I come over? At that moment, she smiled and she winked and said, of course you can, anytime. And she walked away. At that moment, I knew what my mission was. I just wasn't sure if I was going to execute it right. Because I remember after school that day, I ended up getting in my car because I actually brought my car this time and drove over to her place. And when we got to her place, we ended up going inside her bedroom. And the first thing I look at was the camera on her desk. And that's when I realized it was a motion sensor camera. So whenever someone would walk in front of the camera, it would turn on and start recording. At that moment, I ended up looking at her and I said, is the camera on? Oh, no, it's off. It just does that sometimes. It's really weird. Here, come here. Let's have fun. And right before we started doing the Devil's Tango, I look at her and say, do you have like a napkin I can borrow? Yeah, there's one in the bathroom. Let me go get it. And as she's going to the bathroom, first thing I do is I sprint over to her computer. I scroll through her computer and I saw there was a file named after me. I ended up opening it and I saw she ended up recording the entire time me and her were doing the Devil's Tango. And that's not even the worst part because I saw there was a group chat that was on her computer and literally no joke, she had videos posted to a group chat of a bunch of girls that went to my school and they all saw me and her doing it. At that moment, I realized my tape got leaked and I was in major panic. I remember she ends up walking in and she says, what are you doing on my computer? And at that moment, I looked at her and honestly, I didn't have enough time to get any proof of anything, so I lied about it. I looked at her and said, listen, I took photos of everything on that computer and I'm not gonna lie to you right now, the fact that you did all that that was disgusting. So I'm gonna call the cops and show them this evidence I got. If you don't, delete all this right now. I remember she starts panicking and she starts deleting everything on her computer, and her parents ended up walking in and asking what was going on. But since she was already deleting everything, I didn't see a need to tell them. And well, one thing led to another. I remember once I left the house, she ended up blocking me on everything, and well, that was basically it. I'm happy that, you know, I managed to get everything deleted and help a lot of people, but still, sometimes you can never be too careful. But other than that, I mean, what would you do in this situation? Because if you do the same thing I did, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys. All right, so real quick, I just want to mention being on camera is like one of the things I really don't mind being on. And one video I've been really deciding on putting out was putting a video on basically me using a face cam or just a camera instead of gameplay and just talking about a story to you guys and seeing it in like a perspective where I'm actually saying it to the microphone. I know I always see like these story times with like actual like chicks or sorry, girls, sorry, I'm not saying chicks, sorry, girls. Anyways, like I was saying, I see a lot of girls and a lot of guys like, you know, basically putting on the camera and just turning it on and just telling a story. And like me, even though it's genre of like gaming, I just want to know if like if you guys want that, just comment it down below and I'm down to do it for you guys. Like I think it'll be cool for doing it for just one video and trying it out. But other than that, going on, I just want to say another thing is that the Devil's Tango merch, or should I say the Devil's Tango merch, is out right now. So if you guys do want to go check that out, get something for the holidays, you know, give it to your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandma. I don't really care as long as they do the Devil's Tango. Then like it's a go for it. But anyways, let's get straight into the video. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to another crazy story. So this story actually takes place back in high school. Now, if you guys don't know, back in high school, I wasn't never like a popular one, but when it was during my F-boy stages, I'm not gonna lie, I got around to meeting a lot of different people. A lot of people from different schools, and let's just say dating apps were kind of a big help with that. Because I remember there was like a dating app called like Yubo, which is like basically like a kid version of like a dating app. As weird as it says to say that and sounds very illegal, it basically was. And I remember me being a helpless romantic and being a total loser back in high school, or in a way, not really a total loser, but a total F-boy in a way. I would actually like swipe on everybody, like literally everybody. Every chick I saw, I didn't care what they look like, I swiped right. Why? Well, it's called being desperate, and everyone's gonna be there eventually. But anyways, going on, back in high school, I remember I would do that like a lot, to the point where I would meet a lot of different chicks. And I remember there was one chick specifically I ended up adding on Snapchat after, because she was like really like outgoing, and well, you know, she was really like, how do I put this? She was always in the mood, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like I can't really say it because, you know, YouTube demonetization and stuff, but I think you guys get the gist. And I remember me and her would like kind of snap back and forth like all the time and stuff, and she actually did not live that far from me. I would say she was like maybe like a 10-minute drive away from me, which is not that far. She was just like, you know, one little city away. And I remember I'm like, you know, like I'm down, like, you know, might as well like, you know, go check her out, see what's going on, you know, all that cool stuff. But the weird thing was that she wouldn't give me like any other social media of hers but her like Snapchat. So, you know, me considering like if I should go hang out with this chick and her not being a total murderer, I kind of just went for it and said screw it. I don't know, it's just like I said, when you're desperate, you kind of just do things you really just didn't think you would. Anyways, going on, so I remember back in high school, I told my friends I was meeting up with this chick for the first time and all that stuff, and he was asking if he wanted me to come, and I said no, because, well, honestly, I kind of expected us to do the Devil's Tango, and you know, I just kind of like didn't want to like risk it for the biscuit, you know what I mean? So I remember what I ended up doing was I actually like straight up just like went over to her place, and I didn't go inside. Actually, she came out first and she went in my car, and like we went around, we drove around, we talked and stuff. But I don't know, when I was talking to this chick, I felt like she was really hiding something from me, and she just didn't explain it. Like I asked her like, oh, what'd you do like, you know, yesterday or the day before? And she's like, oh, nothing, as if she was doing something. I don't know, you guys will eventually realize when you start hanging out with a lot of people that you guys like will get this gut feeling that someone's lying to you about something. And when someone's lying to you about something, there's one of two things you can do. One, confront them, or two, face the consequences that it might come with. And what did I decide to do? Well, I faced the consequences. But going on, I remember she said she wanted to go out for a bit, you know, we drove around and she wanted this, you know, I expected to go back into her place, you know, end up doing the Devil's Tango. But she said like, you know, she didn't want to do it yet. She wanted to like go around and stuff, which is, you know, respectable, you know, I guess, you know, when people just want to do that, they can. And we did, we rolled around, we went to McDonald's, we did a lot of cool stuff. But then it came to a part where it was actually very, very interesting because her phone started ringing and it was like a literally like, I don't know, it was some guy's name with like a heart beside it. And I was like, wait a minute, like something feels off. Like, am I getting in trouble here? And I guess like, you know, she's like, oh, like, give me a second. She went
she went and talked to the person, came back and said, oh, like my brother like said like the coast is clear for us to go home. The coast is clear. What were your parents home? Why couldn't you tell me this earlier? I don't know. I was really odded out by the way she just said that randomly, as if like, you know, we were gonna smuggle in there. But I mean, it is what it is, you know. I'm no robber, but you know, going to a chick's house it's not a no-no for me. So like I was saying though, so we ended up driving back all the way to her place. And when we got back, I remember me and her, we like full on just like started like, you know, going on the couch, cuddling, all that cool stuff. And I'm not even joking. We went from literally just kind of like, you know, holding each other to full on doing the devil's tango. And as that was happening, I'm not gonna lie, midway through, and this is no joke, she pulled out her phone and said, hold this. And she literally put it on camera and wanted me to record me doing her, or doing the devil's tango with her. Now, this is the most weirdest thing, because I never had a chick do this to me, like ever. Like it was like a really weird, okay? Like I've always heard stories of guys pulling out their phones and taking a picture of them like hitting it from the back and stuff, which is not good, by the way. Don't do, okay? This is like, wow, this is really on PG. But anyways, like I was saying though, like I've always heard stories of people doing that, but I've never heard of like a girl passing me the phone. Like at first I thought she had like an OnlyFans or something, and I'm like, are you sure like I'm supposed to be doing this? She's like, oh, just like get a couple clips. No, I'm sorry, no. Now, like I said earlier, I love being on camera, okay? But this is one of the times where I don't want to be on camera. So I remember I actually gave her back her phone. I said, no way. I ended up getting up and putting on my pants, and I'm like, dude, that's just weird. And then I ended up asking her, why did you want me to record? And she said that she wanted to start an OnlyFans, but her boyfriend didn't want her to. And her boyfriend told her that if she wanted to start an OnlyFans, she had to start it with someone else. And I guess that's what the phone call was about in a way. And I guess I was at someone else. And I guess, you know, me being a big shot back in high school, you know, being able to do the devil's tango with like a severe amount of women was like really kind of just weird how she wanted me to do that. But then that's not even the worst part. Like, I wish I could just end the story off here, but no, it gets worse actually. I remember like, I want to say like 3 minutes of us talking how bad this was and how like, you know, I felt uncomfortable and stuff. And she was really confused on why I felt uncomfortable. Cause like I said, you know, I did the devil's tango a lot. I'm not even joking. She literally like got a phone call and she didn't answer because she's like, oh no, this is a serious conversation. But from her not answering that phone call, her boyfriend actually walked into the room and saw me shirtless, holding like my phone, and her just laying down butt naked. And this is where the situation gets really bad, because I did not expect to get caught by her own boyfriend. But he walked in, he started freaking out like, oh, what is going on? Like, why are you standing there naked with my girlfriend? What's going on? And I like literally like addressed the situation, how she wanted me to record her. And then after that, like he started like kind of like freaking out, and then her parents came home and saw all this, and it was just a wackadoo situation. But either way, the girl and the guy ended up breaking up. I ended up just going home and blocking her on everything, because that was just the weirdest thing ever. And I guess, you know, she ended up starting up her OnlyFans, and I'm not gonna lie, she's pretty successful till today. It was just kind of cool actually. The thing, I could have been in one of those videos. Actually, no, I actually refuse to be in one of those videos. Never mind. But that's basically it for the story, guys. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Also, make sure you guys go check out the Devil's Tango merch that is down below. Make sure you guys go get one for the holiday season. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace.